Hello and welcome to Flicksplained, the channel where we take your favourite flicks and series and break them down to ensure you don't miss a single detail.
You're going to die. Maybe not.
There are a ton of amazing movies set to hit the big screen this year, and with all of the great projects in the works out there, it's sometimes hard to keep track of everything that's coming out. But you don't have to worry about missing out on any of your favourite movies, because in today's video, we're going to be going over our top 10 most anticipated movies of 2023. Make sure you stick around until the end to find out what movie we absolutely can't wait to check out. Shazam! Fury of the Gods. For number 10, let's talk about Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Following the success of Shazam, this sequel looks like it's going to provide the DCEU with a breath of fresh air, just like the first one did in 2019. Set to release March 17th of this year, Fury of the Gods is going to see Zachary Levi reprise his role as the superpowered version of Billy Batson known as Shazam. The movie is going to pick up where the events of the first film left off, and follow Billy as he does everything he can to keep his foster family together. Meanwhile, Lucy Liu is set to play one of the daughters of Atlas, a group of three sisters that are not pleased with the idea of godlike powers being granted to humans, let alone children. And based on what we saw in the trailer for Shazam! Fury of the Gods, the movie is going to have the same level of charming comedy mixed in with dire situations that Billy and his superpowered foster family had to face in the first Shazam. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. Number 9. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. Releasing in theaters on July 14th, this is not only the 7th installment of the Mission Impossible series, but also part 1 of a 2-part final movie to wrap up the franchise. At least for now. With each new Mission Impossible movie, audience members get to see Tom Cruise outdo himself time and time again with crazy stunts that you just know he's doing himself. He'd never let a stuntman touch his scene, not even when it means scaling the side of the world's tallest building or hanging off of the side of a plane. In fact, Cruise has already spoken about a stunt in the film that sees him riding a motorized bike off a ramp and transitioning into a base jump over the edge of a massive gorge. Needless to say, it'll be sad to say goodbye to Cruise's character Ethan, but we can't wait to see what crazy death-defying nonsense they have cooked up for us in this 2-part explosive end to a legendary character. Evil Dead: Rise. Coming in at number 7, we have Evil Dead: Rise. Now, Evil Dead has been a cult classic among horror fans since the original film debuted more than 40 years ago on October 15th, 1981. And unlike most horror franchises, every Evil Dead sequel, series, or even the reboot that came out in 2013 has been an absolute banger. As of right now, it's unclear exactly how the newest installment to the franchise is going to connect to the rest of the series, but regardless, we are excited to see the Necronomicon Ex Mortis open once again. This time, the story is going to center around a young woman named Beth, who is played by Lily Sullivan. While visiting her sister Ellie, the two end up discovering the antagonistic bug that has caused countless problems throughout the franchise. This will no doubt lead to the pair needing to fight for their lives against an army of Deadites that will begin raining hell down on them. And even though he has yet to be listed in the cast, it would be genuinely surprising for Bruce Campbell not to at least make a cameo as his iconic character, Ashley J. Williams. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Number 7. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. The third feature film, which is technically the 4th installment to the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise after the holiday special, is set to hit theaters on May 5th, 2023, and be prepared to bring your tissues. The Guardians have long been one of the strongest sub-franchises within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that's in no short thanks to the characters that make up the team. From the adorable yet terrifying Groot to Drax, whom I would probably use the same adjectives to describe, created some of the best tension-cutting moments in the entire MCU. And Volume 3 is set to be a grand goodbye to this current lineup of Guardians, which means that there are gonna be some tears. Especially if James Gunn delivers on his promise of giving us a deep dive into Rocket Raccoon's original story. If it's anything like Rocket's brief rant in the first movie about not asking to be poked and prodded by scientists, the theaters are gonna be a sea of grown men crying their eyes out and blaming it on the dry air. Super Mario. Next up, for number 6, we have the Super Mario Bros. Movie, which is slated to hit theaters on April 7th. Now, I know what you might be thinking. How did this make the video? Chris Pratt isn't even doing the accent. And to that I have to say, let's go take a look at Illumination's track record as a movie studio. None of their animated films have let me down yet, so despite the backlash it's received, I still have hope that the Super Mario Bros. Movie is going to be entertaining at the very least. Charlie Day's Luigi is sure to be hilarious, and Jack Black's voice as Bowser in the trailer got my approval. Honestly, I think once people sit down and are about 5 minutes into the movie, the whole accent thing is going to fade into the back of their minds, and they'll begin to focus on all the amazing work that the cast and crew put into making the movie. John Wick, Chapter 4. For number 5, we have John Wick Chapter 4. You shouldn't be surprised to see the 4th installment of what has become one of the best action series of all time, as one of the most anticipated movies comes out this year. Set to release on March 24, 2023, Keanu Reeves is back as one of the scariest but coolest cats to ever bear the title of a hitman. In Chapter 4 of Wick's story, we're going to get to see the assassin face off against the new enemy standing in his way of taking down the High Table. Bill Skarsgård takes on the role of the Marquis de Gramont, a high-standing member of the High Table, and the man John is going to have to take out if he wants a shot at the top. Throughout the movie, the audience will also undoubtedly be graced with a fight scene like no other between Keanu and Donnie Yen, who is set to appear as the assassin named Kane. If you don't know, Donnie Yen is one of the most impressive actors and fighters to take on roles for the big screen. From playing the iconic Ip Man to even appearing in Star Wars Rogue One, seeing him and Keanu together is going to be nothing short of amazing. Wonka. Number 4. Wonka. Unlike previous tellings of the Willy Wonka story, which typically take place after he's already a world-renowned chocolatier, Wonka is going to follow the origin story of our title character. Not much is known about the film yet, aside from a few things which included the release date, which is going to be on December 15th of this year, and that Timothée Chalamet is going to be donning that hat and becoming the infamous Wonka. The cast also includes stars such as Rowan Atkinson, Matt Lucas, Olivia Colman, and Keegan-Michael Key, though their roles in the movie have yet to be announced. What I like about this being an origin story rather than a reboot is it will be almost pointless to compare Chalamet's version of the character to Gene Wilder's, simply because the characters will be at two very different points in their lives. In the end, Wonka is going to present a fresh perspective on the story surrounding the infamous chocolate factory where children eventually go to almost die. Seriously, the original Willy Wonka is a borderline horror film with how often those kids almost came to death. Transformers: Rise of Beasts. Coming in at number 3, I am so hyped for Transformers: Rise of Beasts I can't even explain it. I haven't been this hyped for a Transformers movie since Michael Bay dropped the first one in 2007. Rise of Beasts is going to be the first live-action Transformers movie to touch on the Beast Wars storyline, which as a kid was one of my favourite Transformers series. The movie is going to act as a standalone sequel to 2018's Bumblebee, but it's technically the 7th installment to the Transformers live-action film series. The movie is intended to be a prequel set in the year 1994. A pair of archaeologists from Brooklyn happened upon an ancient conflict between 3 Transformers races, the Predacons, the Maximals, and the Terracons. Ron Perlman is going to be taking on the role of Optimus Primal, the Beast Wars version of Optimus that took on the form of a gorilla. This was a movie that not many people knew was in production, but has made a lot of young adults feel pretty nostalgic for a classic Transformers series. Oppenheimer. Now, our second most highly anticipated movie of the year gave the frontrunner a run for its money, and honestly, they might even be interchangeable. They're both very different, but I can't help but be fueled with anticipation at the thought of seeing either of them in theaters. Coming in at number 2 in today's video, we have Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer, starring Cillian Murphy as the title figure, is a biopic following the events of the Manhattan Project and the inner and outer struggles that J. Robert Oppenheimer faced in the process of creating the world's first atomic bomb. Oppenheimer is set to release on the big screen on July 21st of this year, and its cast is beyond stacked. Joining Murphy, we have great actors and actresses like Robert Downey Jr. as Louis Strauss, Gary Oldman as President Harry Truman, and Emily Blunt as Oppenheimer's wife, Kitty. Nolan promises to make a huge splash with his latest film, and even boasted about recreating the nuclear explosion first witnessed at the Trinity test by using practical effects and absolutely no CGI. Personally, I can't wait to see what that's going to look like. Across the Spiderverse. And last but not least, our most highly anticipated movie of 2023 is without a doubt Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. Again, this one and Oppenheimer are really interchangeable for us as number 1 and number 2, but this is just the order they ended up in. Honestly, all of the movies in today's videos are going to see us running toward the theaters like a little kid toward an ice cream truck. Across the Spiderverse is set to release in theaters on June 2nd, and it can't come soon enough. From all of the crazy cameos and various spider people we're going to see, to all of the amazing and beautiful animations that have been painstakingly created for us, there is nothing that we're not excited about in this movie. This sequel to Into the Spiderverse is going to see Miles and Gwen teaming up with new spiders and fighting all new foes to ensure that the multiverse stays stable and protected from anyone that would wish to destroy or manipulate it. This is going to be the second installment in the Spider-Verse series, but thankfully, it won't be the last. Though it hasn't been announced when it will be released or what the movie will be about, the creators of the Spider-Verse franchise have announced that it will be at least a 3-part series. What movie are you most excited to check out this year? Be sure to let us know in the comments section below. And if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to check out our channel for more Flixplain magic.